Good morning, Team Anastasis. I hope that you are having a great Friday so far. It is a half day today because we have Meeting of the Mind, family connection meetings later this afternoon. So you guys get a half day. Your teachers are going to be here all day talking with your parents, which is really fun for us. We have another Blue Cup discussion. Today, it's going to be just me again because I was going to do my Blue Cup discussion with Miss Amen, but she wasn't feeling well today, so she was at home. So we'll do her next week. I had some more questions in my cup that I didn't get to answer the last time, so we're going to answer some more of those. I don't think I'll get to all of them today, but I'll do a few more today, and then maybe we can do another one another time. So first up, what was my favorite subject in school? My favorite subject all growing up was really reading. I love to read. But I would say when I got into high school, my favorite subjects were creative writing and anything art. So I took a lot of interior design classes when I was in high school, and I love interior design. So anything art related or creative, I really loved. And then creative writing, and I loved physics because rockets. So that was really fun for me too. Some of my pet peeves, oh my goodness. My biggest and most consistent pet peeve throughout my life is crunching. So I cannot stand when people crunch. It like does something to my brain that makes me want to strangle somebody. My husband can be crunching chips from like across the house, and I'm all the way in a different room, and I hear it, and my brain like short circuits, and it makes me insane, and I threaten to cut out his tongue because it makes me so crazy. I wouldn't really do it, but it's that bad. It really makes me cranky, and it has a name, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a common thing that people do not enjoy, and that's a pet peeve of theirs, the crunching. I have a new pet peeve that is just in time for COVID, and that is when I see people wearing a mask but walking around with their nose out, naked noses. That has become a new pet peeve of mine, because what's the point of wearing a mask if your nose is out? You're totally defeating the purpose. So that's a new pet peeve, just recent. Biggest fear. So I have a weird biggest fear, and that is, you know, when people put animal heads on their wall, like as decoration, like it's called taxidermy. I am terrified of taxidermy, like really and truly terrified of it. It is my biggest fear. I have no idea why I'm afraid of it. It actually is a real phobia. It's called taxidermophobia. It sounds made up, but it is not. It is a real thing. I don't know where it came from or why it freaks me out so much, but I get physical reactions when I see animal heads on a wall, and it really creeps me out and scares me. So when I was a kid, I would like, you know, the restaurants that have like the big buffalo heads or things on the wall, it would like completely send me into a panic. I would hold so tightly to my mom's hand or my dad's hand, like walking through a restaurant where there was taxidermy, and my heart beats really fast. Like it's a little bit insane. So once when I was in college, I had a teacher program where we went to the museum, and we were doing like a field trip there, and we were supposed to go to the Natural History Museum. And the dinosaur bones don't bother me. It's really the animals that like have the dead eyes and are not alive. So at the Natural History Museum, there's this hall called the Hall of Life, which is a bad name for the Hall of Life because nothing is alive. It is everything is dead in this Hall of Life. So they should call it the Hall of Death. I don't know why they call it that. Anyway, I knew that I was going to have to walk through the Hall of Life to get to the classroom where we were doing this special teacher training. So I pepped myself up. I got myself ready. I knew we were going to have to walk through there. So I like told my friends, like, I know it's weird, but I'm weird and I can't handle it. And I need your help. So my friends walked on either side of me, and I kept my head down and watched where I was walking, but I would not look up because I could feel it. Like it's that feeling of like the EBGBs on your back is how I feel every time there's taxidermy. So I walked through the Hall of Life, and I was so proud of myself because I got all the way through without looking up and without like freaking out. And I walked into the classroom, and where we were going to be learning something about like Lego Mindstorm type things. And I walked into the classroom and I was so relieved. And I looked up, and the classroom we were in, I was right in the door, and there's two big bears on either side of me, like staring down at me like this. And then on every inch of the wall was a different animal head, like every animal you can imagine, antelope and rhinoceros and giraffes, and every single animal, all dead, looking at me in this room. And I got so hot and started really panicking, and my breathing got really short. And I passed out in front of all of my classmates in college, one of my embarrassing moments. And when I came to, woke back up, they're like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, I have to get out of this room. But I knew I had to walk back through the hall of life. So I was like full on panic attack. It was not pretty. So biggest fear is definitely taxidermy. I am trying to get over this fear. And here's how I'm doing it. I'm facing my fear. I'm gonna move my computer. Nope, I don't know where he is. Oh, he's over here now. I'm facing my fear by, see if I can get it in the camera. Okay, see right there next to the window, there's like fake taxidermy. It's a deer head that I made out of cardboard and wrapping paper, because my fear is so bad that even pretend taxidermy like that freaks me out. So I made that one, and I also have one in my house to try and make me not so afraid of it, so that I can be a grown-up and not panic every time there's taxidermy. So, biggest fear. If I were to appoint a president, who would it be and why? If I could appoint anyone president, like anyone from history who's never been the president, I might choose Leonardo da Vinci, which wouldn't work because he was not American. But I think he would be an interesting president because he thought about things differently than most people and was super creative and thought things outside the box. So I bet he could have solved a lot of problems that we have in really creative ways that maybe nobody else has thought about. So he might be an interesting president. Last question for today. I have more, so I'll have to maybe do them another day. But the last question is, why did I start the school? And that is a great question. I started the school really because I was in a lot of schools, both as a student and then as a teacher, where I saw kids like in kindergarten coming in and they would love learning and they'd be so excited about being at school and all of these things, and they knew, they could tell you all about everything. Yesterday, Sawyer made me a Yoda and taught me a spell to make me a Yoda. And so that was amazing. And kids like love learning when they're younger. And then what I would see is kids like my brother. So I have a little brother who is 5 years younger than me, and he hated school all the way through, like never liked it. And he had all the same teachers I had, and I loved school and I loved my teachers. So I never really understood why he didn't like school so much, but he really didn't like school ever. Not all the way through, he didn't really like it. And I saw a lot of kids who would come in kindergarten when I was a teacher, and they would love learning and they'd be so excited. But by the time they got to like second, third, fourth grade, they stopped loving it. And I thought that was so sad. And that every kid, if you've got to spend 6 hours of your day at school, it should be really joyful. It should be a place that you love. It should be, learning should be fun, because learning is life. It's what we do for our whole lives. It never stops. And so it made me sad that that kids were going through and not loving learning. And I started to look at the curriculum that kids were being asked to go through. And so much of the curriculum is really terrible. It's just bad. It's not good. And I understand why kids don't like it, because even as a teacher, I didn't love teaching it because it was so boring. But also, kids would finish and then they'd be bored because they've been finished and they're just sitting and waiting. Or on the other end, kids might really struggle with something, but too bad we're moving on. And so I saw kids feel bad about who they were, and nothing about it felt Christ-like to me, and nothing about it felt like learning to me. And so I started thinking about different ways that we could solve that problem. And actually, my first way I thought I was going to solve that problem was not by starting a school. It was by doing something with technology. So I created a piece of technology called the Learning Genome Project, and the purpose of it was to customize learning for every student, make a technology program that would customize learning for every student. And I was really excited about that. I got investors, and I started working with lots of schools to show them this piece of technology I made, and I thought it was so cool. And all of the schools and all of the investors were like, we can't use this because school is not set up to do this. School's not set up to do the things that you want to do. And class sizes are too big to really do this well. And we've got to test kids through, and we've got to keep them in grade levels. And all of these things kind of kept us from being able to really use that technology well. So I started dreaming, what would the perfect school look like? If we could redesign school and we didn't have to follow any of the rules, what would it look like? And that's really where Anastasis came from. So I thought, you know, what would it be like if we didn't have grade levels? And what would it be like if we didn't have everybody doing the same, you know, boring worksheets at the same time, or the same textbooks that didn't have anything to do with what the kids love doing? What if we let kids ask questions and explore their learning instead of having to do the same learning just because somebody was telling them that they had to do it? So I started just looking at what could we do, and dreaming about, you know, does an office have to look scary, or could it look kind of cool? And do the classrooms have to have desks in rows, or could we do something different? So just thinking about what my dream school would look like, and that's what Anastasis is. And what I love about our school is that we create it together every year, that we get to decide how our community is going to feel, and we get to make it a safe space, and we get to decide if something's not working well for us, how we're going to change that together. So I love that we have so much freedom at Anastasis, and I hope that you start to feel that freedom. If you're not feeling that freedom, it's probably because you haven't earned that freedom yet. Sometimes you have to show that you can handle the freedom before you can really take advantage of it. But my favorite thing about Anastasis is the way that it has been shaped over the years by all of the students who have been here and all the teachers who have been here. So it started out as my idea, but it's become all of our ideas together, and it gets better and better every year. So even in COVID times, when we're wearing masks and doing things that maybe we didn't design for our school, it still feels really good when I talk to other people, other teachers, about their schools and how their schools are handling it. And I'm so happy that we get to be here every day together. I hope that you guys all have an awesome Friday. It is our short day today, so get lots of learning in while you can, and we can't wait to see you all next week. Have a great weekend.